Week 2 of the NFL season. We've have running backs falling down like flies. We have insane comebacks to save seasons. We have people making boneheaded decisions. We have refs being awful as per usual. So let's get to it. Just week 2 in the NFL, and let's get into it and look ahead to week 3. Hayden, Alex Renelio, and Bars are with me again. What's up, gentlemen?
What up?
What up, King? Happy to be back.
All right, I'm happy to have you all here. And let's make some moves. So let's get into it right away. Let us start with my New York Giants. The Giants were down 20-0 going into half. For the first 6 quarters of the year, they were outscored 60-0. I was very, very pissed. I even flipped off my Giants hat. And I honestly thought, wow, we're really taking 1,000 steps backwards. But I don't know what happened in that locker room. But Brian Daboll told this team that they got something, and Daniel Jones had a major prove-it game. The Giants come back behind a Daniel Jones career performance in the second half, and they come back to win 31-28. And let me say something and make it clear. Dolo, you get this ready. I want everybody to look me in the eye and listen to what I'm about to say. It is time for you to give Daniel Jones respect. He got paid. He's won a playoff game, and he just saved the season on a major comeback. This dude knows how to use his legs. This guy has a great arm. This guy's accurate, beloved, and he has that dog in him. So to start this off, when are we going to give respect to Daniel Jones, guys?
Oh my God!
We are not.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna put you on check here. I can't take it. He's $160 million quarterback, and he's an average quarterback. I'm sorry.
Hey.
You beat the Arizona Cardinals, who are supposed to be the worst team in the league and are tanking. They're actively tanking, okay? And you're down 28-7 to a team that is actively tanking. Like, no disrespect to Daniel Jones. He played well in this game. He came back from 21 points. Congratulations. Let's see how they play for San Francisco, who's the best team in the NFC.
Okay.
But I'm sorry, he's
Okay.
$160 million for a man that honestly has won one playoff game and had a freaking 15 touchdowns last year in a career year.
Hey, man, listen, I know Zach Wilson is frustrating you, and you have to take out this energy on us.
Thank you,
But Daniel Jones is the man. Daniel Jones got this.
Daniel Jones
finally woke up.
This is what you're
it took 6 quarters, but Daniel Jones is here.
No. I'm getting my point in here. Daniel Jones, you want to say everything about him. He's got all the talent. He's great in the locker room. He's got all the intangibles. You're literally like you're talking yourself into Daniel Jones because you can't accept the fact that he's kind of an average quarterback. Like you're talking, oh, he's great. He's such a tough guy. And he is. He's a great leader. He's motivated. He's tough. He has a lot of things that I would love from a quarterback, like that go beyond just the field. I'm not even disagreeing with you on that. But like on the field, he's been very average for these last 4 or 5 years. You beat a shitty Arizona team. Let's see what you do for San Fran. If he plays well for San Francisco, then maybe you could start buying into the hype. But let's chill out the hype for a little bit.
Hey,
okay,
man.
Wait a minute. I just got to say this because you got me roasted by the fandom. They said that I was looking like a fool for saying Zach Wilson wasn't good. And I had a low IQ. I don't know. 10 points on the board. You tell me what Zach Wilson is looking like. Hey, Danny Dimes orchestrated a comeback. I don't know if it saved their season, but that comeback
you also got to figure out the fact that they were down 28-7 versus Arizona, who's actively tanking. Like, it's a good win. Like, listen, 21 points versus an NFL team is great, but like,
I am taking Daniel Jones over Zach Wilson.
Oh, come on! I would take this water bottle over Zach Wilson right now. So let's calm down here.
I definitely want to get into this with the Jets. I definitely do, but listen,
Shannon Sharp said he couldn't play dead in a horror movie. That's what Shannon Sharp just said.
Definitely we will definitely get into that segment shortly. You're not wrong, Hayden. You're definitely not wrong about them making this comeback against a weaker team. But the fact that he was able to do it and not give up and not have the same thoughts as Giants fans did, that says a lot. The man does have an arm.
He showed a lot of mental fortitude there. I agree with you on that.
For sure.
And that Cardinals team still has a pretty solid defense.
I think they're better than people think.
A couple of pieces like on offense. Is Isabella still over there? Isabella still over there, or did he leave?
We're not doing that this week.
You know what I'm
moving.
saying? He said we're not doing that this
Moving
week.
on. We're moving on. No guessing
Yeah,
names.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
will say
basically.
though. I will say though, like I'm somewhere in the middle between both of y'all. Like I think that I want to give his props where it's due. Like you did come back from a large deficit at half, and the only way to win games when you're in a big hole in the second half in a shortened game is you have to throw it. So kudos to him for making those plays. But at the end of the day, like I don't think he's worth his money. I think two things can be true. I think that he's not necessarily worth his money, and he's going to have to go out and prove it this year that he's going to be able to put some of this team on his back, because now the money's really on the line when you don't have your bell cow back and you don't really have a tight end you can rely on. Like we all like Waller and stuff, but he's been injured and banged up the last 3-4 years. That's why they got him early, easy on the market. So we'll see what happens moving forward. I think that San Fran, I don't expect them to win against San Fran, but I expect them to keep it tight.
I will say though, like when he doesn't have Saquon, he actually, I think they said it, he actually plays better when he doesn't have Saquon, which is interesting because maybe the field opens up more for him and that he's able to like when they had Wayne Gallman, he actually played pretty good with Wayne Gallman out. And I think last year Saquon was fully healthy, but we'll see. I think they're going to throw the ball 30 to 40 times next week versus San Fran. And I think they're going to be able to exploit that secondary because I think the secondary is a little weak for San Francisco. So, we'll see. They got to take some shots to Jalen Hyatt like they did against Arizona. That was a nice pass. If Darren Waller can maybe stretch the field a little bit. Like, I think there's some – I don't necessarily think that San Fran is as good in the secondary as I think. I think their offense is pretty loaded, but their secondary is a little – if there's one weakness maybe you could say about San Francisco, their secondary is a little susceptible. Because Puka had like 11 – I want to say like almost 15 catches versus the 49ers.
Yeah, it was 13.
So their secondary can be beat. Like, that's one area. So, like, if Daniel Jones can attack it, we'll see. They have more weapons this year than they did last year.
Listen, I get it. Literally nobody but a true Giants fan has any respect for Daniel Jones. I mean, nobody. And I don't know what it is.
It is not
I
that
I know what it is. And he had a good rookie year.
It's not that I have no respect for him. I just think he's a little overhyped. Like,
I respect
like, he's an average quarterback. Like, he's not a bad quarterback, 100%. He's
the
not
man
bad.
Fixed his turnover issues. This man has a better arm than given. And here's the thing. This San Francisco game's huge. And it's not the fact that, of course, if we could pull off this upset victory, 10-point underdogs, that'll be insane. And then maybe the league and this whole world will give him his flowers that he needs. But this is, you're right.
It's also a average to – sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. You're good. All I'm just saying is that this is the time. He already has the money. He has the contract, but this is his opportunity, especially in this game against a stellar defense, as you mentioned. And as long as they can protect him, which will definitely be a tall order because we started a lot of our backups on the line, but as long as if we could have Andrew Thomas back, John Michael Schmidt seems to be improving in his first couple of games. He might be a solid center for us. And as long as the Giants can make a push in this, and as long as Daniel Jones has a good game, and I understand, people criticize he doesn't have a lot of 300 passing yard games, and I think this was his very first regular season when he threw for 300 yards against Minnesota. But he has the juice, as John Mara said, that all the regimes, whether you're Shermer or Judge, did everything to make him fail. But we have Daboll, who was able to turn Josh Allen into this big being. Why not Daniel Jones? And San Francisco is a good test to prove that. And not much else against the Cardinals, as you mentioned. They're trying to tank, and that helped, and that win helped them. But shouts to Josh Dobbs, who did put a fight against that Giants defense, which thank God improved as the game went on.
I'll add a little bit to that. I also think, like, with his contract, I think the Giants gave him that money knowing he's in the NFC because he's one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the NFC, without a doubt. Because, he's worth the money in the NFC because the NFC has very watered down at the QB position. I think I'm correct to say that. He's probably the third or fourth best quarterback in the NFC. You could say that. You got Dak, Jalen Hurts. The NFC is they have a bunch of crappy quarterbacks in the NFC. So, to be honest with you, Jared Goff, maybe Geno, but he's just as good as any of those guys. So they paid him that money knowing they could have a great quarterback in the NFC, which right now the NFC is watered down in terms of the quarterbacks in comparison to the AFC. I think we could both say that. Although I think Jordan Love is going to be very good this year. He's putting up great numbers. I think Desmond Ridder if they can move the ball, is going to win some games. And Baker Mayfield, like the NFC is going to be a little bit better than it was last year in terms of quarterbacks. I could say that. But Daniel Jones, without a question, is in the market for the third or fourth best quarterback. And to pay that, knowing you're going to be in that position, knowing that he's not going to necessarily ever be the top guy, but he's going to be able to be one of the elite guys in the conference, that makes sense in terms of the money. But in terms of the overall landscape between the AFC and the NFC, he's about the 13th or 14th best quarterback in the league, if not lower, because the AFC is just much better at the quarterback position. So that's why I think at times it's a little ridiculous, but I think when you're paying him, you're also paying him based on the level of competition in the NFC versus the AFC.
I think that's a fair assessment. And now we are still very early in the season. Now it's time for him to prove to everybody that he's worth that contract. We'll ultimately see. Now, one person I want to talk about, and I assume we're going to talk about him a lot until he gets benched, until the Jets. Yeah.
I just want to say, I got faith in your boy, man. That's it.
God bless you, Bars. This is why you're brilliant. All right, switching it up. Zach Wilson and the Jets go down to Jerryland. They play the Dallas Cowboys. They lose 30-10. Zach Wilson throws 3 interceptions. The defense got extremely outplayed. Sauce Gardner was just destroyed by CeeDee Lamb. And I think no one found the open cornerback better than Zach Wilson in that game with some very ugly picks. And I get it. Some people feel that he played well in the first 3 quarters. I personally disagree with that. I mean, it was fine. He did keep them in it, and and the first half was 18-10, but somehow it went all downhill from there. And just some stats I want to share. I'm just saying that in that game, Zach Wilson only had 43% of Garrett Wilson's targets were catchable in week 2, which is a league low with wide receivers with 5 or more targets. And Zach is currently 32nd, which is dead last in quarterback accuracy this season. I know it's still very early, but at least we wanted to see a competent game for the Jet fan, I assume, and obviously we'll have the Jet fan either defend the point or look the other way. But do you feel any better about your team after this game? Reckon I know they were humongous underdogs going into it, and it looks like Dallas really is a force to be reckoned with in the NFL, and I will take my my comments back thinking they aren't looking good. But an old friend of ours who used to do shows with us, who's a lame person, but he made the point that the Cowboys usually play well in the beginning of the year and they go downhill as the season goes. Maybe this is another case. I'm not sure, but we'll ultimately see. But back to this point of focusing on Jets and Cowboys, first to you, Hayden. Do you feel any better about your team moving forward?
No, I don't. I mean, but that being said, listen, Zach Wilson played okay for the first half. Wasn't bad. Even the first 3 quarters, he kept us in the game. And then maybe at the end, he forced some throws. So it wasn't just all on Zach. And the offensive line graded last in like every single category versus Dallas. If I'm being a realist, I didn't expect them to beat Dallas even with Aaron Rodgers. Like, Dallas is a great team. So I have to chalk it up.
Aaron has Dallas's number.
But that being said,
Yep.
bench Zach Wilson, without a question. You with this shit. I mean, I don't want to say it. Don't put that in real.
Bro.
Whoa.
You can't.
Bro. Where exactly was Zach Wilson keeping them in the game?
I mean, no. He was. It was 18-10 at half. It was I want to say it was 18-10 at half. So they were right in it. They're only down by a touchdown. He did.
I mean, where was he third quarter?
He wasn't perfect.
He was gone the first quarter.
I mean, he was okay. You know, it wasn't a perfect effort, but they were in the game for a little bit. That being said, I'm a little bit concerned about Sauce. I think he has not played good the first 2 games, especially versus Stephon Diggs and CeeDee Lamb. He's been getting beat a little bit. But that being said, what I think the Jets need to do is they need to just put him on the number 1 receiver instead of playing a zone where he's responsible for a specific zone. Like, you got to have Sauce. I think they should have Sauce shadow the number 1 receiver for each team. That's what I would do.
If I would play his strengths.
But I mean, that being said, Dallas is really, really good. Like, Micah Parsons is elite. And we'll move on to next week. I mean, he's going to get benched. Without a question, they cannot put up with this another week. They can't put up with this if they want to make the playoffs. And in my opinion, in year 5, under Joe Douglas, in which the team hasn't made the playoffs, you have to make the playoffs this year. I don't care if you pick a quarterback off the street if you pick up a guy like Kurt Warner who's worked as a grocery store. Look, I don't even care. At this point, you have to get anyone. And Jet fans should be angry. This team has not made the playoffs in 5 years under this GM. They should be angry. They shouldn't be being content. Like, I'm sick and tired of the Jets in delusional la-la land. Like, we'll throw away another year because Rodgers got hurt. No. You drafted this guy number 2 overall. You have one of the best rosters in the league in terms of skill players on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. You got to make the playoffs. There can't be another wasted year. I cannot hear that anymore. I can't deal with it. I
let him have it, Hayden.
I physically can't.
Go off.
Like, it's just enough already. And, it's his fault the line is this terrible. He spent 5 years trying to fix this line, but supposedly came from Philadelphia, that he's this guru on the line. He hasn't done crap. The line is as terrible as ever. And, it is his fault that he drafted this quarterback number. Like, you can't that badly on a quarterback number 2. Like, he's done. The bad is starting to outweigh the good, in my opinion. But he's going to get another year. This GM definitely will get another year because Woody Johnson is. I have no idea. I don't know. There must be some type of leak going to come out with Woody Johnson that Douglas knows. I don't even know. That's the only reason that gives.
With a name like Woody Johnson,
back of GM. But that being said, like, he's going to get another year, but they have to make the playoffs this year, and it starts next week. You've lost 14 straight to New England. That's the biggest game of the year. Like I said it to you at the beginning of the season. The game versus New England is the biggest game of the season. Yeah. Because you have to beat them. You've lost them 14 straight times. You have to set a precedent that this is not going to continue, and you have to beat them next week. That's it. And if you can't beat New England next week in a 14-game losing streak, that's going to be the game that defines his legacy, in my opinion, in New York. You win versus New England, things will change. You got to win to stop that losing streak. Things may change in the upward for Zach Wilson. Maybe things will start to come into order. The next 2 games after that are Kansas City and Denver and Philadelphia. So you have to beat New England, in my opinion.
Well, I think a lot of this blame lands on the offensive coordinator, but particularly Robert Saleh, because he's a defensive guy and he should have had these guys ready to play. And I think that this defense is too good to not only keep you in a game for the first half, but then to just let it go and get worn out in the second half. So I think that you spent the whole offseason with Zach Wilson, not full well knowing that you were going to have Rodgers. You should have had a better preparation, a better scheme, a better offensive game plan.
You should have had a backup quarterback too.
Expectation that you were going to roll with Zach Wilson. So that's just my issue on its face. But even from a defensive standpoint, like they hung in there in the first half. They got worn down. They couldn't convert on third down, which made them go back down out on there on short rest. And I just think it's a recipe for disaster. It's a very cyclical thing that kind of falls on top of itself. So if they can't fix it against New England, because with New England, they're going to try to control the clock. You got to shut down the run. It's very simple and straightforward what you have to do defensively as a strategy to give Zach Wilson a short field. And at a certain point, if you are as good as this elite, as this gangrene defense is, if they're top 5, they need to start turning the ball over and forcing turnovers to give Zach Wilson short fields. So give him the courage to have a short field and make a few plays and get yourself in field goal range and start chipping away. There's no reason they should have been outscored completely in the second half of this game. And I don't know how much of this is Dallas good versus Jets bad, because I think that Dallas definitely still has a lot of deficiencies. I still think that they're over. I think they're still overinflated when you look at the rest of the field in the NFC. But I think that there's just a lot of there's a lot to break down. There's a lot going on here.
And you can't give Breece Hall, 4 touches the whole game.
No,
I'm sorry, you can't got to give him a little bit more. That was bad in terms of the offensive call.
I agree with everything you guys are saying. Like, first of all, except I will say that I agree with Alex on the fact that Cowboys are like a little bit like a lot of flash and glam right now.
No, I don't agree with you on that. They're fast.
Nah, they're good. Their defense. Their defense is mad fire. They got a great defense. Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs. They got a fucking mean defense. So secondaries, they have like I would say the least amount of holes. Literally the least amount of holes in their secondary. I will say this though, right? When you look at that game, the Jets defense actually held them to just field goals for the rest after the second quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
that's
was
true.
just literally field
And
goals.
they should have
And
been off the field had not been a terrible roughing the passer call on John Franklin Myers. Was it John JFM? Was JFM or it was someone else who got the roughing the passer
I'm
call?
I'm not gonna fret on this Jets team until the defense starts. Like yeah, they allowed 30 points, but if you really kind of break it down, they really only allowed a lot of field goals. Like that,
They
like
were pretty
you know what
good.
I'm saying?
Yep.
Like they didn't allow nothing. Like after the second quarter, nothing was in the red zone. Like no scores in the red zone. You really got to kind of look at
Yep.
that. Like and Dak Prescott, he is what I say Zach Wilson isn't. He's a game manager, but
Yep.
he needs that defense to really do that thing. Outside of that, like look if you look at Dak's his percentage, 31 out of 38 passes, 255 yards, two
Yep.
touchdowns. Those two tutties came early in the game. Defense basically shut down the Jets, and then they just kind of like got close enough, kicked the ball in. Like that's pretty much it. Like honestly, they're a little overrated. Like a little gas. Like people are giving them a little too much juice because they had that really good game last week against the Giants. But when they come up when they come up against a team that's not going to be scared to toss that motherfucker and like has someone that can go and get it like over Micah Parsons, like make them and which is going to be really hard. But I mean, like make them boys literally work. Like and they got Stephon Gilmore back there, so their secondary is
Yep.
actually pretty scary. Like so, like if unless like unless they come up against a really good team, I can't call this Dallas team like a good solid like contender yet. Like they're gonna make the playoffs, that's definite. But like to like a favorite to win anything off of these two games, not impressed.
I
The,
mean,
the
they
difference
also play Arizona and New England, so they could be 4-0.
This difference,
Yeah.
this difference in this game was if you just boil it down to the third down conversions. I mean, that's really the difference in the time of possession. I think that this was a game of possessions, and like you said, bars like the fact that the Jets kept them to 3 points on most of those possessions in the second half just goes to show you that it's just about controlling the clock. I mean, 42-17, Dallas is ridiculous, and the fact that they were 9 of 18 on third down. I don't think it's necessarily a direct indictment of the Jets. I just think it's more of a domination in time of possession because for the Jets, if you go 1 of 10 on conversions, that's more just an indictment on the Jets offense with Zach Wilson.
And then what's the difference between 1 and 10 and 9 and 18 if you're still missing 9, if you're still not converting 9 of those? Like, I mean, yeah, there's a big difference. I'm not
Right.
trying to be ignorant, but I'm just saying, you're converting half of them, but like like that score makes it look like you converted at least a good like 75% of your your third downs.
And how many roughing the passer calls are the Jets going to get called on? Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I've seen it. John Franklin Myers, back-to-back years. This game, the game versus New England last year, he had two that were just egregiously bad.
Don't
And, like,
get me
I'm
talking on
sorry. It feels
officiating.
like the Jets get the most roughing the passing calls called against them in the entire league. That was infuriating.
I mean, the
So,
refs. If you saw the Lions and Seahawks, that huge holding call on Aiden Hutchinson. We have the Broncos
I didn't see
and
that.
we had the Broncos and Commanders. We had major missed calls in the 2-point conversion. This is why people think this stuff is script and why no one trusts anything
it's not
about the
scripted.
NFL.
It's definitely not scripted. Just the roughing the passer calls have been terrible. But that's.
Oh, I know.
That's
I'm just joking around, but I'm just saying, stuff like that is exactly why
I'm not going to go
feel the
that
way
far,
they
but
do.
it is frustrating at times.
Insane stuff. So the next game I want to talk about is Miami versus New England. And the first thing I do have to bring up, and that was reported today, this recording, before we focus on the game, is unfortunately, there is a fan named Dale Mooney, 53 years old, who tragically passed away during the game. And it seems he was tragically killed due to injury suffered while attending the Sunday night football game. Now, no coroner report has been released yet, but there's also been people have been saying that he may have had a heart attack in this, or maybe the fight ignited a heart attack. I don't know. Again, we're waiting for official coroner reports to release that. I mean, first, our thoughts and prayers with the Mooney family. And the fact that these fights that happen in these NFL games are like vicious, like more than ever. And I saw in the Jets and Dallas game, there was a bad fight with that. There was blood involved. And it made me think, like, if I hope one day I'm a father and I want to take my kid to NFL games, hopefully Giant games, and want to be a Giant fan, but like it's really the wild, wild west out there. And it's just absolutely sickening how people really have to really consider their safety. And I get it, when you involve alcohol and frustration, and this is a very stressful world, and you're trying to relieve some stress, and you just have some jackass annoying you. People's emotions get the best of them. But I mean, this really has to stop. And unfortunately, it's not going to, because look at
I just heard about that today, and that's wow. The first time I told you that, it's pretty scary.
Yeah.
And for me, sorry, you can go on.
No, I don't have anything to add at the moment. I'd like to hear what you
For
say.
me, like it's interesting because I found the New England fans, like out of all the fan bases I've traveled to, like they actually were pretty pleasant. Like they weren't too bad to me when I was there as a Jet fan. And usually, like, the Jets, they want to kill the Jets, but it's like it really wasn't. It wasn't too bad when I was there. Like, so that's actually pretty surprising that it happened at a Patriots game. But yeah, it's just these fans are terrible.
Yeah, and
it's scary to say.
And it's not going to stop, because we are, as a human race, you know the answer to that. So, I mean, if at least before you're going to punch some jackass you don't know, before you get a bruise at a football game the next morning, understand how the worst case scenario can really happen. And boy, that guy who punched him,
and he's going to get charged, for murder.
Yeah.
Murder or manslaughter.
Should be punched in the face.
Like, insane, absolutely insane. And we talk about this debate in society, when you film with people, when you see fights, your instinct is to actually film it instead of breaking it up. Well, when you see something like that, people make a point. Maybe we should be a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? Proactive in a situation like this.
It's scary.
Bars and Alex, if you have anything to say, we'd love to hear it.
Nah, you guys pretty much touched it all. Like, it's a sad and scary world. Like you said, I hope that I can take my kid to a football game one day, and I don't want to have to worry about that.
Yeah, I mean, I have season tickets to the Jets, so I want to make sure my kid's going to be safe when I eventually have kids,
Safe,
wherever, or my girlfriend, whenever I take her. Thank God, so
Yeah, I had nothing to add. You guys hit it on the head. I think that we kind of get like caught, wrapped up in like kind of like this tribal, kind of, rabble rousing with like the game. We get so far into it, and then we kind of like lose sight of things. So not to make it too macro, but I think that it's kind of like a humbling point to kind of step back and kind of just compartmentalize the game too, just for everybody, kind of like a PSA type thing.
Indeed, man. Now, focusing on the game itself, which was actually pretty fun and entertaining game. And
yes.
I think the thing I got out of it is that the Miami Dolphins look like they're a complete team, and you can put them on a top tier list in the AFC. And wait until Jalen Ramsey comes back in a few weeks. Both offensively and defensively, this is a team that means business. And a lot of people don't really respect Mike McDaniel for some reason. This guy almost won a playoff game with Skylar Thompson against the Bills. This guy knows how to coach. Hayden, he kind of looks like you. And I'm sure you get that a lot.
I've never gotten a Mike McDaniel. I mean, it's an interesting comparison,
but anyways, he's doing a great job in Miami, and respect that. He beats Bill in his house, and Bill and the Pats are 0-2 for the first time since 2001, I believe.
Ooh. Yeah, no, I want to say 2 is like 5 or 6-0 versus the Patriots.
Yeah. And very impressed. And look at this, Hayden. This is you. This is you when you're 38. Seriously.
We'll see.
I'm showing for
if I'm going to be an NFL coach making millions, I'll take it.
So honestly, I'm looking at this game as a whole, and yeah, I agree. Like, I can't. I kind of feel bad for Devontae. Was it Devontae Parker that used to be a Dolphin? Feel bad for him. He's over there. Mm-hmm. He's over there now in the Patriots. But the Patriots didn't have a bad game. Overall, when you kind of look at it, him and Tua pretty much played. Mac Jones and Tua pretty much played the same game.
Mac Jones sucks.
Yeah.
Mac Jones has actually been better this year.
First of all, when your quarterback talks like he surfs and eats a lot of za, it's not a good sign. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he pans the screen just a little, pans the field just a little slow, but he's definitely better than Zach Wilson in my opinion. But yeah, Mac Jones, basically him and Tua pretty much played the same. Like Mac had more throws, but Tua had more yards. They both threw an inning. They both threw a tutty. But Raheem Mostert, 120 yards, 121 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like that boy was a demon. He's a speedster. Been a speedster. Like when you kind of really look at like the breakdown of how everything went, like it was a run heavy game for Miami, and they proved that they can do it in more ways than one. You know what I'm saying? They don't need just Tyreek Hill, but Tyreek Hill did have a touchdown. Jalen Waddle is a solid receiver. I think the receiver core gets a little weak after those two, but like outside, like who's after that? Braxton Berrios, like come on, like outside of that, that Miami team is a solid team. But I feel though, as if injury plagues them in that receiver core, they will struggle.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think as a whole, I think you guys said a lot of great points. I think that this game, especially with New England at home, I think this was a bigger indictment on Bill Belichick just as a whole. The one calling card that he's always had in his pocket, no matter if Brady was there or not, and especially when Brady was there, was this defense. They gave up over 120 yards on the ground, which is just shameful. I mean, just to Mostert himself. And we knew that the weakest part of this offense for Miami was the running back position. So the fact that they gave that up and did not shut down the run is just, you're pumping lifeblood into Miami. We knew that they were going to be an offensive juggernaut coming into the season. They have weapons out the ears, and for New England, they should kind of be ashamed because they should be helping and aiding and abetting Mac Jones and giving him shorter fields and leaning on that defense, at the behest of Bill Belichick. But instead, they're making his job harder, and they know his limits and his deficiencies, and they're asking him to do more than he needs to do. He was brought in not to replace Brady, even though on paper that's what it looks like. He was brought in to be a game manager and sit behind that regime and that offense and that system. And they're making his job a lot harder than it needs to be. So I think, kudos for the Dolphins. They're as good as we thought they were going to be, particularly for me. I think that they were going to be right there above Buffalo as like the third best team in the AFC this year. And I think that's what they're going to be. But it's a really more of an indictment on New England. I think it's going to be a long season for them.
I mean, kind of going off like a little bit like that. I actually think Mac Jones has played better in the first 2 games than he was last year. Like he's better. Like this is a better quarterback and probably a little bit better of an offense than it was last year. I think New England's struggling due to the fact that they have. I mean, if you look at the first 3 games, they get Miami. They got Miami. Who did they play in the first week again? They played Miami, and they played Philly in the first week, and then they get the Jets. So like you get 3 like pretty good teams. Jets are an elite defense. You got Miami with Tua and Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert. Those boys, like they have a pretty good team. So I feel like it's not necessarily even that the Patriots are that bad. It's just the schedule. The schedule is tough. Like their schedule is brutal. And then after the Jets, you play Dallas. Like you probably if you don't beat the Jets, you could be looking at 0-4. So, like I said, New England's going to start to play
Wouldn't
better.
that be something?
They'll start to win some games. Like, then they get New Orleans, who I think they could beat Oakland. I think the Bills are beatable, to be honest with you. If Josh Allen with Bill Belichick's defense, I think they could beat the Bills. You get another game versus Miami at Miami where it's going to be warm weather. You get the Commanders, the Colts. Like the schedule eases up a little bit. But that being said, they have a very tough schedule this year. So it really depends. I don't think it's necessarily an indictment on Bill O'Brien, because I actually think Bill O'Brien's doing a pretty good job with this offense. They're better, but they just got to get in the red. They got to score. They got to score points. I mean, 20 and 17 versus Philly and Miami's not going to win you any games. 20 points versus the Jets probably will win you the game. Because the Jets can't score. the Jets can't score if Jets can't score crap. Now it's so we'll see. Next week's going to be ugly for them again. That's going to be another game that's going to be
Jets
like
can't
17.
score on an open netter.
Yeah, Jets can score an open net.
Oh
So
my God.
it really depends. But I mean, you're also playing one of the best defenses in the league with Sauce Gardner, and they don't really have a number one receiver. They're missing a number one receiver. That's what they're missing on this offense. Like if they had even a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, like that would have helped them this year. Like he could have been a number one, even though he's been MIA so far. But a guy like DeAndre Hopkins would help them, in my opinion. But we'll see. Bill thinks he's smarter than everyone, and didn't sign a number one receiver, so he's going to get what he deserves.
The Steelers and the Browns played on Monday night in an absolute messy, bad football game with Deshaun Watson looking like he was digressing a little towards the end and we saw Nick Chubb. Unfortunately, we saw Nick Chubb get a season-ending knee injury. People were getting hurt all over the place. But ultimately, if there was any positives, the Steelers won, and TJ Watt is your best defensive player in the whole NFL. Talk to me, Bars, about the Steelers and what you thought about that game first.
So the officiating was trash in that game. It was really poor. I'll be like I'm not going to be a biased fan on that. I really feel like there was a lot of calls that shouldn't have been called. A lot of calls that were just bad. Like, you know what I'm saying? But outside of that, okay. So I don't know if Matt Canada is holding a Rooney hostage or he's got like Mike Tomlin's kids in the basement, but Matt Canada is very horrible, horrible, horrible offensive coordinator. And he not fooling nobody with them fakes. He not fooling nobody with them screens. Najee Harris is running into a fucking wall, but I don't know if that's because Najee Harris or
Man,
that's
terrible
because,
running game.
like,
There was a point in the
Yeah.
first 3 quarters they had a rushing yard.
there was one point we had -2 rushing yards. So, like, Canada got to really work on that offense. Kenny's missing some really open reads. I don't know if that's because he's not like allowed to have the progressions that he wants or whatever. Um uh outside of that, the defense, we still got a couple of pieces like we got to twerk, like a middle linebacker. We need to fix that. I think that's part of the defense that's really needs to look at. Minka went down that game, didn't come back, but the secondary kind of was like solid pretty much. Joey Porter Jr. was looking really good. Um, there was a lot of the Marvin Leal. He got a sack. It was a sack lunch party. Alex Highsmith for the first play of the game gets a pick six, but I don't think anyone is giving Minka Fitzpatrick any credit because if he didn't get hit, that's an intro. It like the hit, boom, it could have stopped him from getting the tutty, but at least he would have got the intro. But it set up the play for Alex Highsmith to TJ Watt, like you said, greatest defensive player on the planet. Uh he literally is the most dominant player in his position. I don't want to hear any arguments about that. You look at me, I will tell you that we own two of the best players on defense in Minka and on TJ. So like Minka going down is big. Hopefully it's just like, he got the wind knocked out of him. Like, as protocol or something, they just sitting him out. But Kenny Pickett still having little struggles. Najee Harris got a lead foot, but he did have that one very impressive run where he did make something out of nothing. Like that was going nowhere. The 71-yard touchdown to George Pickens. George Pickens was looking immaculate. Like he was looking immaculate. Career high so far for him in yards yesterday and in in yards yesterday. We finally got a play over fucking 50 yards that was a tutty that didn't require us to wait like I don't know 13 weeks. Like, is there upside in this offense? Yes. Is there downside? A lot. Do I think the Browns, like I saw Myles Garrett like one time, and he got broke by Kenny Pickett. Like outside of that, it wasn't a big game for them. Like on the front end defensively, Nick Chubb going down, real scary. I actually did not get to see the injury, and like every time people talk about it, they kind of block it out or they say they're not gonna show it. So I gotta kind of hunt it down and look for it. But that sucks for that guy. I hope he comes back. He was probably the best runner in the league at the time, like legitimately. I would argue that it's Josh Jacobs, but um like Deshaun Watson is just, I don't know, man. I was hoping, honestly, like I was hoping that he would bounce back from this shit and he would kind of show either Deshaun Watson that wanted to win from Houston. Like, you know what I'm saying? That I'm down, I'm gonna score all 4 touchdowns by myself. Like, I'm gonna make this happen, Deshaun Watson. But like the guy's just like a has been now, and he's barely been in the league that long. Like maybe his mental's not right or whatever it is. It was
He's
a good
lost
game
his
for defense.
he's lost his will to win. I think being underserved in Houston and kind of overcoming obstacles and stuff and going against the odds when they were in Houston, I think that's probably why. With Cleveland, he's paid, he's got a padded ass. I think a lot of what you said, Bars, is true. Like I think the defense really carried Pittsburgh, and they're going to carry them through the season because Pickett's limited, and they don't trust him with Matt Canada's offense. And they got a lot of shit to work on. The best saving grace they could have had was Nick Chubb's injury because they were just running train on that front four for Pittsburgh. I think you're correct. I think if you're gonna sacrifice your free safety and you're gonna bring them up to the line of scrimmage, you best have a stop at the line of scrimmage because you cannot keep giving up 4.5, 5.5 yards per carry,
7 yards,
and let them control the clock. Because all you're doing is you're asking for a nightmare situation. Your offense is not going to get on the field, and even if they do, they're going to be completely out of rhythm because they've been sitting sidelined. So I think that moving forward, they just have to find a way to like stop the run on defense and not necessarily look for these home run plays. Like you look at the difference between like Aaron Donald and a Max Crosby. Max Crosby is an electric guy off the edge rushing. But the reason that Aaron Donald never got the credit, even when he was an MVP, was because he was doing all the grunt, dirty work, pushing that line of scrimmage back, that offensive line. And that's where, in the trenches, that's where you stop the run. And I don't think they necessarily have that guy yet. I know they have Cam Hayward. I think,
yeah, need him back.
And he's a dog, but he's getting up there in age. I think they need another inside linebacker to like kind of really secure that front four.
And that's correct. Like our linebacking core is a little bit weak when it comes to, like, legitimately. Like we still haven't found like our guy for the middle since Ryan Shazier went down. You know what I'm saying?
True.
And like when it comes to that front line, I think they should just throw Keanu Benton in there. I know he's a rookie, but they should kind of just get him in there, get him some reps, see what he's looking like. Maybe you could do something with him. Montravius Adams is looking okay. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not sold on him yet. I really think they should get the rook in there. And you know what? I can't. This is, oh fuck Matt Canada, dude. Darnell Washington is a fucking, like he's taller than Njoku, and Njoku's a fucking like a tall beast. Like Darnell Washington's hands are like the size of my head. Are you telling me you don't got no plays designed for that man to just like go and get like 5 yards and like probably pick up like 10 more? Breaking tackles and moving up. Like, what's up?
Yep. So, Matt, what did you think
of this?
I haven't seen Allen Robinson really get nothing in. Sorry. Go ahead.
All I will say with this is I thought the Browns' momentum coming into this game and people feeling good about their win against Cincinnati would continue, and I was wrong. The Steelers definitely needed that bounce back win for themselves. And, even though this game was very poorly played and messy, it was just a matter of who made the least amount of mistakes, and it clearly was the Steelers. And I don't know. Again, we're still very early in the season. If we want to to see what Deshaun Watson's fate really is, if he's justified to have $263 million. But if the season ended already, clearly not. So not much going on there. But I want to talk about you, Alex, and your Raiders. They lost 10-38 against the Buffalo Bills. They bounced back after a very bad loss against the Jets. And things did not
Hold it.
look good. No Jacoby Myers. People eating up Jimmy G. The Bills definitely needed a bounce back game, and it seems like the Raiders were a victim of it.
Yeah, they sure as fuck got it. I'll tell you that. No, this team laid an egg. I'm not even gonna blame it on the time delay, like with West Coast teams going east for 1 o'clocks. There's no excuse. The fact that they were outrushed by a team that doesn't even have a running game, 183 yards to 55 is just shameful. Whoever the nameless, faceless Raiders defensive coordinator is, they should already start looking for work, just like the ones in years past, because they look like the last shit I took. And the fact that they only had 13 first downs. I mean, again, we knew this was going to be an offensive heavy team. McDaniels stinks. He fucking stinks. There's no excuse for his shortcomings. And Jimmy G not looking ready to play, looking like he's seeing ghosts out there. I really feel bad for a handful of players on this roster because year after year they just put out their best effort with no return. The fact that, again, I'll excuse one of the interceptions from Jimmy G string. One of them was tipped at the line of scrimmage. Can't really, fault that, although you can a little bit. And then the other one was just a bonehead play. Yeah, you definitely missed Jacoby Myers, but the fact that Devontae he only had 6 receptions, like that's not enough. He needs 10 catches. And where the fuck is Hunter Renfrow? He was an all-pro fucking player. He was an all-pro fucking player 2 years ago. He's not getting blanketed. He's not getting doubled. Where is he in the fucking depth chart? I don't understand. And it's really sad when Josh Jacobs is your second leading receiver because, yeah, like he's been worth the money year after year. He's an all-pro player. He's unbelievable. But save him for the bell cow touches. I don't want him fucking receiving out of the backfield, running these stupid shit screen plays, running left to right. If he's not running straight ahead for 4 or 5.5 yards, that offensive line is good enough to push him there. This team is in disarray already, and it's just bad early signs of what is to come for the rest of the season.
There's always tanking for Caleb or Bo Nix or Sam Hartman.
Josh Jacobs had -2 rushing yards.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just a testimony to that Bills defense.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Sure.
I think you got to be worried about that defense, to be honest.
And Bars, can you just move your screen a little more so we can see your pretty face?
I think you got to be worried about that defense for Oakland.
I do too.
That defense it's not quite as bad as Chicago's, which we'll talk a little bit more. But like that defense is pretty bad.
Shit. No.
That defense is pretty bad. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm surprised they played so well versus Denver. I'm surprised they played so well versus Denver. So I mean, you'll see. Every year there's a team that surprises someone. So like maybe it could be Oakland, or the Las Vegas. I mean, every year there's a team that surprises someone. So that's not. I wouldn't go so insane. I would go insane after losing to Buffalo, who's supposed to be a great team. But I mean, we'll see. You play 2 games versus the Steelers and the Chargers. Both those are winnable. So I honestly think they could. I think they could beat the Steelers. I think the Steelers. I don't love the Steelers, so
No, we're gonna crush.
The next 5 games, Alex.
Classic NFL rivalry.
The next 6 games we got, Alex, are Pittsburgh, the Chargers, the Packers, the Patriots, and the Bears and the Lions. Raiders, the Giants, and the Jets. You could win. You could win maybe 4 or 5 of those games. Am I wrong?
We're gonna run train. We're gonna run train on your front 4 like my ex. I swear to God.
Oh,
yo, like Alex Highsmith, Nick Herbig, TJ Watt, Larry Ogunjobi, they all hit me up in the group chat and told me how they're gonna run trains on Jeremy Garoppolo. Like legitimately, just like they packed sacks. They packed sacks just for Jimmy, like legitimately. So like, I'm I'm an avid Steelers fan. I'm rocking all the way. Don't bandwagon on my boys. Gotta stay hardcore on it. Gotta let you know, right? You should really be worried about your defense. Your front line, Mad Max,
I gotta tell you, it's unbelievable how slow Najee Harris is, though. He is slow for a back.
It's like watching.
It looks like he's walking on concrete. I mean, oh my God.
It's like watching the cement truck chase down like a bigger cement truck. It's weird. Like
What was his 40? What was his
Let me-
40 time coming out of college? It was like a
So
Six
Right.
6 seconds. Nice.
real quick,
What was
real
it?
quick, before we shift off this topic, I want to ask you guys: does this change at all your position and your feelings about where Buffalo is in the depth chart in the AFC? Where do you guys
Oh,
put
yes.
them?
I mean, I think
No.
Buffalo's going to be a good team. I don't think Buffalo's going to be a 12
You know
win team
Matt.
like
You
they were
know
last
Matt
year.
hate Josh Allen.
But I think they're going to be a 10-win team. I think they're going to be good, but I think they're going to take a step back. I do. I predicted they would miss the playoffs. So we'll see. I'm gonna stick to that prediction. I think you can't really judge after that they beat Las Vegas.
So
keep calling them Oakland.
who did Buffalo play last week? Who was it last
Buffalo
week?
played the Jets,
Jets.
and then they played.
Jets.
Okay, they played the Jets. They performed. It was but
Yeah, Buffalo
their
didn't
game,
play bad. It was just their quarterback gave them the game away. If they have a quarterback that can hold on to the ball, they'll probably win a lot of games. They have a good
Madden
offense.
curse is
Buffalo's-
real.
Buffalo's defense is serious though. Like you can't sleep on that defense.
Yeah, they got a
They're
good
kind of
defense.
like they're
Wait
like
until
a
Von
dark
Miller
horse
comes
defense.
back.
Yo, dude, they're like a dark horse defense. You don't want to sleep on Buffalo's defense. Matt Milano, all pro Matt, like you know what I'm saying? It's like
Long
you got,
Island
like,
guy. You know him, Hayden?
He's a Long Island. That's interesting, though. He's really a Long Island guy, Matt Malone?
Yeah, he's from Comac. I assume all
yeah,
Long
yeah.
Island people know each other.
I did not know he's from Comac.
Buffalo, baby.
That's actually an interesting thing that you told me.
Matt had an interception. Bernard had an interception. Micah Hyde is still on that team. They got a scary little defense. Jordan Poyer. You can't really like sleep on that secondary at all. Like, I think the Bills are pretty much like Josh Allen is not him, but he's better than you give him credit for, Matt. Come on.
Yeah, but you guys know why you know why that defense looks nice for Buffalo, because you got Helen Keller wearing number 10 throwing freaking wounded ducks out there. Fuck that shit.
You know,
Yo,
one
he
defense
said you
that
got
really
Helen
wasn't.
Keller.
One defense that was very impressive on Monday night was the New Orleans Saints defense, shutting down Bryce Young, helping Derek Carr get a victory. How did we feel about this game? Unfortunately, we had some injuries with the Panthers, but it seems like they didn't really have a chance. Again, it's only week 2. Bryce Young, though, didn't have a good first 2 games as the number 1 overall pick. But as Hayden talked about, the Saints might be a team that returns to the playoffs. Maybe this is an early sign to come. And Michael Thomas finally playing that big game we've been waiting for what, like 3 years? Great game by Michael Thomas. And Derek Carr seemed a little more confident, even though against a weaker team, but doesn't help to get those reps in there at home.
Yep. Yeah. New Orleans look good. I'm very pleased to see it. I had them as a dark horse pick, especially with a really lean NFC this year. They had extra time to prepare on a Monday night against a young team, so they took care of business. But it was particularly important with a divisional rival. So I was happy for Carr as my old teammate, my old leader. But this team looks legit. I mean, they kind of have the 1-2 punch. If they can keep this offense on the slow ascension through the season as it moves along, I have no questions, no concerns about this defense. Dennis Allen's got it on lock. Still got Cam Jordan on that front 4. Their secondary is nice, so they're gonna be lethal.
I mean, I'll talk a little bit about that. I mean, you got 3 teams in the NFC South that are gonna be they're 2-0 now. You got the Bucks are 2-0, the Falcons are 2-0, and the Saints are 2-0. I mean, that division's probably gonna get 2 playoff teams, if not 3. You could argue.
No,
not 3 teams, but I think they're gonna get 2.
They might get 2. They might get Atlanta.
That division is going to be a lot better than what people think. Like I think Tampa Bay Baker's got a specific moxie that I think is actually going to play pretty well in Tampa Bay. I think they were kind of missing that fire a little bit after Brady because of the all divorce, and he was just not the same play. He was not the same intensity as a leader he was.
Yeah.
So I think it's actually good that they have a guy like Baker Mayfield to kind of re-energize them. And Derek Carr, I think the Saints going to be one of the best teams in the NFC. Like I've said it from day one. I was actually my pick for the Super Bowl, the Saints. I actually really like the Saints this year. That defense is awesome. Like I think they're I know people are shocked when I say that. Saints going to be
not with Derek Carr as their quarterback.
I don't know, man. Derek Carr's pretty good actually with that elite defense.
I don't know about that. You said Zach Wilson was pretty good too.
I didn't say Zach. I didn't say Zach Wilson was pretty good.
Yeah, to be fair, he didn't say.
I would never say that. I said if you did a lot of different things, you could possibly win with him because they won some games. That's not saying he's good, but
Okay, you're correct. I'll take that back. I was wrong.
Derek Carr. Derek Carr is a good quarterback, and I actually like I like the Saints here. They're going to be very good, and I think they're going to be one of the last teams coming in January. I do actually.
I think they don't even sniff a Super Bowl. Like I think they get if they do make the playoffs, they get bounced the first round.
Fine.
Carolina was okay. Carolina wasn't bad. Bryce Young didn't throw any interceptions. He didn't really have the yardage for those attempts and shit. And Miles Sanders, kind of feel bad for him. He went to that team, but Bryce Young did have like 34 yards on the ground. Adam Thielen, the old guy over there, he still like they only had like 54 yards. I think the Panthers make a bounce back. I think like what like how everything pans out for the Panthers. Gotta look at their schedule. Like their next game, their next game is the Seahawks. That's gonna be a tough game, and their next game after that is the Vikings. Another tough game. They honestly got a hard schedule when you look at it. They gotta play Miami after that. They play the Texans
I
and the
mean,
Colts.
they
Those are
played
probably
Atlanta,
going to
the
be
Saints, the Seahawks, and the Vikings. That's not really a gauntlet in my opinion. Look at who the Jets are playing. Look at who New England's playing. Like you can't compare those.
Got Jacksonville and Green Bay in there too.
Titans, Buccaneers. I don't know.
I mean,
Jaguars, Green.
New England just played Miami,
That
Philly. They're going
Packers
to play the
secondary is
Jets.
good.
They got Dallas coming up. Like New England's schedule is a gauntlet too. So same with the Jets. Jets have a gauntlet. We play Dallas. We played Buffalo. We have to play Kansas City. And after this week, we have to after the Patriots, we play Kansas City. So I don't know.
I don't know. I think you're sleeping on their schedule, low key, because they play Dallas as well. They play in Detroit. They play the Buccaneers twice.
I mean, it's
And
also you got a rookie quarterback, so any game is going to be tough with a rookie quarterback. It's the truth. Like even
they got a ways to go.
Look at CJ Stroud. Like CJ Stroud's playing pretty good, but like they're just not. The Texans are not there yet. Same thing with Carolina. Carolina's just not there yet. Like
One quarterback option to think about
if they get
if they're down.
They're not just a quarterback away. Like
6 games. They get like 6 games. I think they get 6 games this year.
Think about Andy Dalton in a few weeks if the Jets need a backup.
It's not a bad idea, honestly. I mean, if they lose to I'm saying this to you right now. They lose this week Sunday, and he plays like crap. They're gonna bench him. I think they're gonna bench him next week if they want to save the season.
Yeah, you don't want
wanna
Chris
save the
Jones
season.
and the
I
Chiefs.
think or they're gonna sign a quarterback. They have to because they can't go on like this. Next week,
Absolutely right.
Next week's the biggest game of the season. Like that's gonna be the game that's gonna determine the season next week.
No doubt. So one game that was an absolute thriller was Washington and Denver. Russ almost willed them back in a back and forth effort. Ruggie, you could also blame Denver for for allowing the Washington Commanders to just storm right back. But regardless, we saw a Hail Mary actually work for once, but they fail in the 2-point conversion. Now, there may have been some tomfoolery with the referees, but what else is new? One thing I want to bring to your attention here. Sean Payton already off to a bad start, 0-2. But do we have some possible drama taking place? This is from @ML Football here on Twitter. It says here, Broncos head coach Sean Payton appears to be blaming quarterback Russell Wilson for Denver's early struggles. And he said, quote, there were a number of drives where we were late with personnel. Getting out of the huddle, we took a while. That has to change. He goes on to say, we had to burn timeouts in the first half, and I'm not used to doing that. We have to be better. I have to be better. Russ has to be sharper with getting the play out, and then we have to look at how much we have in. If we need to whistle bandit, we will. So, guys, do you think, according to this quote, does Sean Payton have any truth to what he's saying? I mean, definitely with the criticisms for sure, but do we think Russ Wilson is to blame? I actually disagree. I thought he played pretty well in the first 2 games.
Yeah.
And he was able to push back, but I don't know. I really think you should worry about the defense's struggles, that they were supposed to be a top 5 defense, and they've been allowing points.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, you get a 21-point lead versus Powell. You can't with Patrick Surtain, who's supposed to be one of the best corners in the game, and and that's secondary. I mean, you can't lose that game. Like you can't blow the lead. Although I will say, with Sam Howell looking like a gamer. Like Sam Howell, they're going to be
Yo,
in it too. I'm telling you,
Chase
man. Like
Young is back, and
Chase
he
Young
was
is back.
balling.
I mean, they got some good players in Washington. Like between those three teams, Dallas, Philly, Washington, and the Giants, it's going to be a good division. So there's going to be.
I called this game.
You know,
I called this
it's
game.
interesting. Sam Howell looks like the quarterback of the future, but it's hard to say that after 2 games because you can say what you want. You could say what you want about Taylor Heineke, but they did win games with Taylor Heineke last year. So this is a
Yeah,
team that
Ron Rivera is a good coach.
the
Look,
Commanders are our team that's going to be reckoned with. They're going to be a team that's going to be in every game, and they're going to win a lot of games. They could be a surprise team too. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, Sam Howell is looking like the quarterback of the future. I actually agree with you. I think Russell Wilson has actually played pretty good in his first 2 games. But Sean Payton and that Russell Wilson, I don't see that relationship working.
Yeah, they don't seem to be eye to eye.
I don't.
Even in the
I
at the
don't.
beginning
I
of the
think
season, there was rumblings.
I don't think it's gonna work. They were even saying that there was reports even at the beginning of the season that he was frustrated with, even in training camp that he was frustrated with Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, in my opinion, got pampered by Pete Carroll a lot. They kind of let him do his own, and it worked. You know what? You can say what you want. It worked. He's the winningest quarterback in the franchise history. He's going to be a Seahawks Hall of Famer. If he didn't have a bad year, and if he didn't have such a terrible year last year in Denver, it could have been a possible Hall of Fame quarterback. So, I mean, I actually think he's played pretty good, but I think I think there's even a chance he could get benched this year, Russell Wilson.
Really?
I do actually.
When I look at that game,
such a descent between him and Sean Payton.
Very expensive benching.
When I look at that game, I see a crumbling offensive line. Like they allowed one too many sacks for me. Chase Young's back. Him and Montez Sweat had 1.5 sacks. I was really big on this Washington team before the game. I've kind of been low key big on them because even when what's this dude? Ron Rivera?
Yeah, Ron Rivera is the coach.
Yep. When he was over there, he's the coach still?
Yes.
The minute he got there, I felt that team was going to turn around. Don't forget that he was a coach of the year at one point. He's been to a Super Bowl. This defense is that front line is very tough. They gotta shore up their secondary a bit more because 33 points is still you know what I'm saying. Russ did still put up 3 tutties. And I'm also on the side of Russell playing really well yesterday, and he's been playing good. Period. But you got to fix that offensive line. He got sacked one too many times. They're the Broncos are pushing the ball just fine. They're not as heavy on the run as they've been in the last 2 previous years, I believe. But Sam Howell, he's looking really good. I wasn't too big on him coming out the draft or whatever, but I knew that of the quarterbacks there, Sam Howell, Desmond Ridder, these are the ones that they were talking about, Kenny Pickett and shit. These are the ones they were talking about. The run game for Washington is looking good. It's looking real good. And
Brian Robinson.
The run game's looking real good. And I feel like Gibson can bust one at any moment. You know what I'm saying? The second string running backs, people gotta really look out for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Brian Robinson's a really good one.
Yeah, I thought this was a very demolished game. We knew that coming into this, that these were 2 of the most elite front fours on both sides. And I think that kind of bear itself out when you look at some of the skirmishes on the line of scrimmage. Bars alluded to 11 total sacks, and then you had turnovers on both sides of the ball from Denver. But I think in just seeing basically the 120 some odd penalty yards throughout the entire game, that goes to show you that there's a lot happening both in the secondary and a lot of action going on through these routes and through these possessions. So I thought it was a thrilling game, and it's too bad it kind of got buried in the lead with some of the other games on the docket. But Washington looks legit. They can they have a lot of things clicking right now, and I think that like Hayden said, Russ is going to be an issue moving through the season.
All right, well, let's keep it going. Tampa Bay defeats the Chicago Bears at home by a score of 27-17. Baker looks really good, very confident, able to hit his receivers. They're protecting him. Good stuff from the Buccaneers. But the big thing to talk about with this game is Justin Fields, and that is absolute poor play. The man is fumbling the ball. This guy's throwing picks. This guy is leaving wide receivers open and not passing the ball to them. He looks like a mess, and you really can't make the case that he is a bust. Do you agree or disagree?
I mean, you could arguably say he's a bust. I mean, he's been really not helped by the coach. The coaching staff is just brutal in Chicago. I mean, but his footwork is terrible too. They say the guy's footwork is horrendous. You can't argue with the fact that the guy has some athleticism. All right, he has the most rushing yards ever for a quarterback in a single season last year. So he's clearly got some talent. In a different system, maybe he would be better. But his footwork is awful, and the passing is just terrible. I mean, the interception to Shaq Barrett was one of the worst passes probably of those first. That was even worse than Zach Wilson's passes. If I'm being honest. So it's sad to see that a quarterback is being ruined by Matt Eberflus, and he's getting frustrated by Fields. You can just see it in this press conferences, and that's upsetting. But I mean, if you're a Chicago Bears fan, you got to be frustrated by this. That's all I'm gonna say. I'll let Alex go because I know he wants to talk. So
yeah, and Alex, these Ohio State quarterbacks keeping the tradition going, not playing well in the NFL.
They keep it going, just like the bad Chicago offense keeps it going. They haven't had a quarterback. They haven't had a quarterback since fucking Jim McMahon. I won't even count.
They haven't. I think they're the only team that hasn't had a quarterback that's 4,000 yards.
I won't even count. I'm not even going to count bipolar Jay Cutler because he freaking laid a donut against Green Bay in the NFC Championship. So fuck him. I didn't have.
They haven't had a quarterback. They haven't had a quarterback for 4,000 yards ever.
Yeah, fuck Jay Cutler because if he didn't let fucking donut, we would have beat him in the Super Bowl.
I want to say they're the only NFL team in history that has never had a quarterback throw for 4,000 yards in a single season.
But I don't have too much to say about this game. I think that Baker was basically just game managing. This was a gimme for Todd Bowles over a young coach in Chicago, and they got a lot of work to do. The NFC North, as we alluded to in the preseason show. We knew that this division was going to be wide open for the taking, but they're just not ready. And they're going to be in constant rebuild until they get the quarterback situation right, and they have top down change on that offense. For Tampa, I don't have much to say. It's just a matter of how they can piece these wins together. If they become more impressive week by week, I'll take them more seriously. But until then, it was a nice little gimme for them, and we'll see what happens in week 3.
I don't got much to say about this game either. Mike Evans, immaculate, six receptions, 171 yards, and a tutty. Ricard White ain't no Leonard Fournette, but boys playing. Chase Edmonds had a couple yards. Even Baker had a couple yards, and that's the one thing that Baker will give you. Like Baker will give you some groundwork, he'll toss the ball a little bit, a lot of it, but he'll give you some of that footwork. You know what I'm saying? If the play is breaking down, you can trust Baker to extend it. Like you said, Baker was doing a lot of game managing. He was he was good. I'm still not big on Baker. I don't let his good performances outweigh all of the ones that he really let go. You know what I'm saying? So the Buccaneers are gonna win a couple games because scheduling, but outside of that, I think they cooled off, and I really don't think they make the playoffs.
I mean, I will say about Baker Mayfield, there is a growing belief in the locker room about Baker Mayfield. They love his grit, they love his resilience, and when you have that for a quarterback, it makes a huge difference in how you play in the field. You see with Zach Wilson, they don't have faith in Zach Wilson.
They do not respect
him. You see haven't been. They have that locker room is starting to believe. And once you have that certain level of belief in your quarterback, you go to certain level of heights that maybe weren't expected. So, I mean, Tampa's going to be a tough team to work with. I mean, you got 3 teams in that division that are going to be all year long pretty decent. Atlanta with Bijan Robinson and Algier is going to be tough to defend. Kyle Pitts too. I mean, if they ever can learn to throw the ball, they'll be a very good team. But I don't. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But I don't believe they have a quarterback that's there yet. But the roster is certainly there. So you got 3 teams there that are going to be pretty decent. But I mean, Tampa Bay, in my opinion, is the biggest surprise because I did not think the locker room would rally around Baker Mayfield that quickly. I didn't. And there's a growing belief that Baker Mayfield can really lead this team, even from guys like Mike Evans, Godwin. When you have 2 players like Mike Evans is a Hall of Fame receiver, can we say that?
Definitely.
Yeah, you can say that.
Chris Godwin's a guy that's been in all.
Maybe he's a Jet next year.
If you have guys like that are believing in Baker, it's going to lead a world difference. So don't sleep on them.
Definitely.
That's been the biggest surprise I've seen this season.
We can honestly talk about the Atlanta Falcons right now and their comeback victory over the Green Bay Packers. Very well played game. And, as you mentioned, give it to the running back by committee they may have there in Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. And even Desmond Riddler did have a good game, but also Jordan Love did as well, going back and forth without Aaron Jones. And Atlanta wound up sneaking into that victory. So good stuff from there.
I'll let someone else go if they want to go, but I have some thoughts. But if anyone wants to chip in, Alex, you want to say something?
Real quick.
Go ahead.
Bars.
No, Bars. Go ahead.
Real quick, I called that game, and I think the Falcons are a team that you're sleeping on. People are really sleeping on. Their defense is sometimes it could be shady, but sometimes it could really hit. Their offense, same thing. You know what I'm saying? But they also got a fresh quarterback over there too. So you can't really penalize them too much. But I feel like at the same time, you got to give them the praise because they're winning these games. They kind of just they 1 point that away. You know what I'm saying? So I give that to them. Their running game is solid.
Bars, I think you might have some technical difficulties, but
I'm going to jump in here though. Just to continue what Bars had to say, I think that this game actually shouldn't have been even this close. I think that Atlanta was clear, far and away the better team. I think the only reason they kept it close is it's a young team. They made mistakes. They had a turnover, an interception thrown. They had a sack and a punt, yada yada. But they dominated in all 3 phases of the game, and I think that this Atlanta team, if they're going to be that second team in the NFC South to make the playoffs, it'll be them. I believe in Arthur Smith. I said it from the jump. He's a really great coach. He outcoached Matt LaFleur in this game, and they have a lot of budding talent. Hayden already went through the names, but we already know what's good with that offense, and they're going to be continue to keep improving this season.
My biggest concern with them is that if you don't have that running game, let's say you have a team that's going to stack the run. Do you really trust Desmond Ritter to throw for 300-400 yards and get you to a victory? As far as I'm concerned,
he hasn't shown that.
I haven't seen much from Desmond Ritter. I think he's been a little pedestrian in these last 2 first games. He's good in that he holds onto the ball. He doesn't really turn it over too much, so he's conservative. But when you have teams that are going to be stacking the run, and you have teams that are going to be, honing in on Bijan and Tyler Algier, I don't know if he's going to be the guy that's going to throw you for 300 yards and win a 38 to 32 game. I don't think he's that quarterback personally. So that's where I think they're going to struggle later in the season, where they're going to be exposed a little bit. I think you can win with this style to an extent, but eventually you're going to have to really throw the ball. And I don't necessarily know I trust Desmond Ritter at this point to do that. I'll let you guys weigh in on that.
And I agree. Desmond Ritter is not he's been looking real pedestrian. He's not the greatest right now. Bijan Robinson really carried that game. He didn't get a touchdown, but he really carried that game. And if you look on the other side of the ball, just kind of flip it, Jordan Love only had 151 yards, but he threw 3 touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? He can score the ball. That's the slept on part about it. They moved the ball decent, I guess, fairly. Their play was pretty pedestrian, but they had 3 touchdowns. Desmond Ritter, I don't really think he's that guy. So I think they're still a piece away from literally almost being there. But you said, like Alex said, there's They're a young team. They're making a lot of mistakes. You know what I'm saying? So that's playing on that. Drake London is looking pretty pedestrian, but that's okay, I guess. Second year, we'll see what's up.
We'll see what's up indeed. So we have the Seattle Seahawks and the Detroit Lions. Very influential game from the refs, but it winds up going to overtime. Seattle wins it.
That game.
But again, one of the things we can mention is that absolutely horrendous holding call from Aiden Hutchinson, and that helped move the momentum for Seattle. But Seattle gets the win in this one. Is the Lions hype over already?
Nah, I mean, it's 1 week. You got a good team that could sling the ball with Geno Smith. Geno Smith's got a big contract. Then they have Kyle Lockett, still DK Metcalf. They have a decent running game. So I mean, one game. I'm not gonna really say too much. I think it's both teams are kind of similar to each other. They're both gonna be in it towards the end of the season. Last year Seattle got in because Green Bay. They finished with the same record last year. So
bad loss for Detroit. The losing C.J. Gardner-Johnson due a torn pectoral muscle.
That was terrible.
Yeah, that's bad.
But I look at their schedule. They have 6 winnable games up ahead. I mean, they got Atlanta, they got Green Bay on the road, which may be a little tough, but Panthers at home is a gimme. Bucks on the road is a gimme. The Ravens might be a little tough. Then my Raiders, it's basically a bye. So they're gonna be Gucci. I have full confidence in this Detroit team. I think they got a little bit of that Chiefs win went to their head. And obviously there was a little bit of intervention from the refs, but balls bounce one way versus the other during the season, and there's going to be games like this that are kind of
that's how it is.
Yeah, that's how it is. And Seattle got the best of this one.
Sometimes the ball just rolls in your favor, and it will for 10 straight years if you have the right luck. Kansas City Chiefs. But anyways, yes, Bars.
That game was actually a pretty solid game. How do y'all feel about Geno though? Like, I gotta ask, like, how do y'all feel about Geno? I think
can't really get a read. I honestly can't really get a read on him. He's surprised last year. I mean, he's definitely got the talent, but I just cannot get a read on him right now. I think we'll see. I believe in him. I believe in his talent, but I only believe in it for like a 2 or 3 year window. So
I had the Lions winning this game. I was kind of upset.
It's a tough thing to.
I said from the beginning that he's got to finish a full second season for me to give him props as a legitimate guy, because anybody can have one great year. You throw out your best and you throw out your worst, and you're a sum of your median. So I think he needs to have a great year to prove himself, and he's on his way.
I mean, he's completing 70% of his passes in the first 2 games, so you gotta give him that.
Sure.
He's got a 104.1 passer rating right now. So he's been pretty good so far. So we'll see. They're gonna be a team that's gonna be reckoned with too, with Jackson Smith and Jigba, sure. And they got a couple of guys. So
we had the Baltimore Ravens play the the Cincinnati Bengals. Again, the Baltimore Ravens played the Cincinnati Bengals, and they won 27-24. 2 big things to take out of this game. One, looks like Joe Burrow re-aggravated his calf. Watch out for that. And 2, Lamar Jackson has played more in the pocket. One of his big criticisms is he doesn't pass enough. But so far, the addition of Zay Flowers, Odell Beckham, maybe he has Kim Kardashian in his life, and maybe a new quarterback. So far so good. And that's the thing. I think that could be a huge difference, is more pocket play out of Lamar Jackson. Am I right, guys?
I mean, Lamar's a winner. Like Lamar, every time he's healthy, I mean, all the guy does is win. So if he could stay healthy, they're gonna be a playoff team. I think Baltimore, like they always can run the ball. Lamar Jackson takes care of the football very well, and when he's in the game, I think the guys. I'm gonna look up his starting record as a quarterback. His starting record, I think he's won over 60% of the games in which he's actually been on the field. So when Lamar Jackson's healthy, like he's worth every single dollar they gave him. Because when he's healthy, he truly is one of the best quarterbacks.
No, he's not.
I don't agree with you on that.
When Lamar
Jackson is healthy,
are you guys doubting the running game?
I agree. He won an MVP, Lamar Jackson. He's made two Pro Bowls. Has been an All Pro. He has a touchdown leader in 2019.
Yeah,
Like the guy's record as a starter right now is 47.
All those superlatives are 1 year. All those superlatives are 1 year achievements.
He's throwing 100.
My point is he's not. Hold on. What I'm saying is he's not worth every penny because they're paying him like a quarterback. He doesn't play like a quarterback. So if he's playing more in the pocket and he's completing more of his passes and improving as a passer, I'll take him seriously. But until then, I'm not taking Baltimore seriously yet.
Oh, I don't agree with you on that. He has thrown 103 touchdowns, 39 picks. Like, I mean, the guy's a baller. Like, I think you should really. I think Lamar's passing ability is severely underrated.
He's still missing routine throws that regular B-list guys make. Sorry, I can't pay him $50+ million. It's not going to happen.
I think the guy's a winner. The guy is. You got to look at his rushing ability.
He's a winner.
Guy does a great deep ball. Guy does a pretty good deep ball. I understand there's some flaws in his game, but I think if you look at the whole competition as a whole, I truly believe he's worth what they paid him.
The place I'll make a revision on with Baltimore is I will concede and consider them a playoff team with the way that Burrow's injury has progressed thus far and how they have not been able to support him on both sides of the ball thus far. I've been really concerned and severely worried about Cincinnati long term. But because of that, the jury is still out as to Baltimore as being a playoff team. But I can't take Lamar Jackson seriously as a quarterback until he's ready to start making that leap. I understand him as a winner, but they don't pay him on a winner for the basis of being a running back and being a hybrid player. They pay him for being a quarterback. So to Matt's point, if he's going to continue this great gameplay and he's going to make a more concerted effort to play out of the pocket and make routine throws effectively in a better winning manner, then I will take them seriously.
I mean, he also has the second highest completion percentage in the league. He completed 75% of his passes.
He's checking down.
So he clearly has the ability to do it. He just has to show that more as the season progresses.
Right. There you go.
And losing J.K. Dobbins didn't hurt their rush game.
Yeah.
And that give credit to the Jim Harbaugh and that offensive line holding it down. But
I mean, I think you also got to see a full year of him healthy because, when last year they were in 8-14 before he got hurt.
I give him a mulligan for last year. They were riddled by injuries, and I said that as well. But he also had the remainder of that year to improve on his arm, and he didn't.
Yeah. Also, I mean, he could have came back a little earlier from that injury. So,
right.
Like I said last year, I mean, if he's fully healthy, I mean, I truly believe he's one of the best quarterbacks.
And you're right. With the receiving core now, they got Nelson Aguilar, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Odell Beckham. They still got Rashad Bateman. Like they got people to throw the ball to. You know what I'm saying? So
they're all in.
He's going to be in the playoffs.
How about that Thursday night game though, where we have the Eagles and the Vikings play, where we see Jalen Hurts is putting on a show both on the ground and passing, and then the Vikings have very bad miscommunications and some bad fumbles here. And they backdoor covered you. Again, my problem, not others. Bars, you seem animated. What's up?
Called this game. I called this game. Remember, you go back. I said 35-27.
I think
35-27. It was
34-28. That was pretty close. He did say that. He was off by like a point. So
did I say it wrong?
Imagine if I put the money on that shit. Imagine if I put the money.
Well, you'd have to pick. If you pick the spread, you'd have to pick Minnesota.
So, Alex, what do you think of Philly this year? Because, I don't believe they're as good this year as they were last year. I think they're going to be. I think they'll make the playoffs. They could win the NFC East, but I don't see them. I kind of agree with what Stephen A. Smith said. I don't think they're as good this year as they were last year.
Well, I don't think they'll have the same high mark that they had last year, just in terms of gameplay and record. But I don't think they're taking as many precipitous steps back as people will say as well. I think.
I agree with you. I don't think they're taking a giant step back. I think they're still very good. It's also kind of hard because they were so great last year.
Well, you got to understand too that we're evaluating winning teams that go far into the playoffs on 2 weeks basis of the next season. I think that a lot of the teams that make deep playoff pushes, they come out of the gate slow because they understand the marathon, not the sprint.
I also think you got to look at how they play in the divisional games because they're going to be playing Dallas twice. The Commanders are going to be very good. I think the Giants are always going to be a tough team to beat, considering it's a divisional game. So I think you really got to look at how they play in the divisional games to really evaluate them.
Like I think like I thought this was gonna be a shootout. I thought it was gonna be a shootout. And as I thought, the Eagles came out on top. Like what's kind of crazy is when you look at the discrepancy in the rushing yards. Like, you know what I'm saying? For pass, like Justin Jefferson had more yards than Devontae Smith, but 175 yards on the ground is really what won the Eagles the game, and that all came from DeAndre Swift. And when you look at comparison, Madison only had 28 yards. Them losing Dalvin Cook is massive for me. Like I thought it was crazy. I don't know why they just let it, like, you know what I'm saying? But like that, it just shows you how this could show you one side how valuable the running back is. Like for them, they need a ground game. And if you look at how they've been playing in the previous years, Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, even when they had Stephon Diggs over there, you know what I'm saying? Like it's all about it's all about like a good mixture, a healthy run and a healthy air attack. Like they really just I feel like the Eagles won this, but the Vikings ultimately really just let the game go. Like,
Yep. No, I couldn't
Kirk
agree more.
Cousins played great. Kirk Cousins played great. He had way more yards in the air than Jalen Hurts. DeAndre Swift murdered them on the ground.
All right. Keeping the tradition going, the Titans and the Chargers go into overtime. The Titans get their first victory of the season, and they win 27-24, making a push. My question for you guys, Justin Herbert, after his performance of the game, a little underwhelming. Are we going to say that he is her bum instead of Herbert? Is he underachieving? Is he a bit overrated? And in the opportunity where he could have really made a statement, he did not step up, losing on the road in against the Tennessee Titans. What do you think about Justin Herbert's play in here?
Yeah, put that nickname on him. Yeah,
Her
he's
bum?
a bum right now.
Shameful.
Yeah,
Shameful.
I was out here trumpeting Herbert every week,
me too.
basically sucking him off if he wasn't in the AFC West.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, I gotta call him to the carpet. We spent the last 2 years basically what the hell's the coach's name for
Brandon Staley.
Brandon Staley. We were blaming Brandon Staley, blaming this coaching staff after Anthony Lynn left, and saying that's what's holding Herbert back and this and that. This offense has had the firepower. They're loaded. They're ready to roll. No, he blew it in the second half of that Jacksonville playoff game, and we blamed it on the coach. Now we're stumbling into next year, and it's 0-2. They should have beaten this Tennessee team, no questions asked. I had Tennessee on a downturn this year. They don't have an offense to speak of. They don't have a defense to speak of. This was a game for the gimme. I don't care if it went to overtime. You close that deal. And the reality is that Chargers have to bounce back to justify what they're paying Herbert and what they claim to make him out to be. I think that on pen and paper, I think that this roster is good enough to hang with almost anybody, especially in the AFC. And there's no reason that they should have lost this game against Tennessee.
Why do they have no Austin Eckler?
Because he's hurt.
And that, yeah, okay, boom. That's a big glaring like hole for so like Austin Eckler carries that fucking team like on his back, like he does his weights in his training program. Like that man is a beast. Like literally in the air, on the ground. Austin Eckler is one of those Christian McCaffrey type backs, and he's just gonna do all the dirty work for you. And it kind of like I say that it's not more so that the Titans won this game. It's more so that they didn't have Austin Eckler and Derrick Henry's still a game. So.
You're not putting any blame on Herbert for losing this game.
Oh hell yeah! Oh yeah! Hell yeah! Her bum, still bum.
I wouldn't go that far. But...
Because
I'm gonna put blame on him. I'm gonna put blame on him
because Eckler was preserving himself all last season in hopes of a contract. So he was pretty much out of the lineup, even though he was really playing. And the reality is, they still made the playoffs and still had a huge lead going into the second half against Jacksonville, and they blew it.
I mean, I wouldn't honestly say that. I mean, the guy threw for 305 yards, 2 touchdowns, so it wasn't his fault. He didn't make any bad plays or
Yeah,
backbreaking plays. I think
Keenan Allen and
maybe,
Mike Williams had big
you know,
games.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I think he's getting hurt by poor coaching, to be honest with you. I think he is. But, like, that being said, like, you got to win some of these close games. So, I mean, it is on the quarterback, and quarterback wins are stats. So.
If you're that guy, if you're the SoFi commercial and the Subway commercial,
No, I don't disagree
no
with you, but his numbers have been pretty good the first 2 weeks. It's
his numbers are modest. They're modest. That's like what I would expect from Carr, honestly. I don't know. I guess we just have two different sets of expectations with Herbert.
I mean, but like, no, I can see what you're saying. No, I mean, you are paying him to be a superstar quarterback. You expect him to win these tight games versus Tennessee.
Right.
They should be Tennessee. I agree with you on that. But I mean, the game
team.
versus Miami, I don't necessarily put too much stock into. I feel like that was just a tremendous performance from Tua because he threw for almost 500 yards.
Right.
So I don't really put too much stock in that game. I if you want to put stock into this game, I agree with you on that. They should be Tennessee.
Well, it should be alarming.
I don't disagree with you on that.
Yeah, they should have crushed these boys legitimately to me. And I said that. I chose the Chargers going into this one. And I thought that the Chargers would have a bounce back game. And for the most part, like, yeah, Herbert was decent. I'm not gonna sit here and lie about it. But Ryan Tannehill managed his game better, and he actually was the one to have the comeback, like Matt called, have the bounce back victory. Derrick Henry was immaculate, he does that. But like in the long run, this is a team that shouldn't be down 0-2 right now. Like you said, it is on the quarterback to win these close ass games. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got to go out there and will that shit.
Speaking of wills, Will Levis is now single. If you saw that. There's a very attractive former girlfriend. And if you guys believe in yourself, you got a shot. Just want to throw that out there. So continuing our tradition of talking about the football games, we had the San Francisco 49ers and Los Angeles Rams play a really good game out here. Ultimately, it was back and forth throughout. San Francisco takes the victory, but watch out for the Los Angeles Rams. Somehow, like you said, Puka is turning into possibly a top receiver in this league. Kieran Williams out of nowhere, who I stupidly dropped in fantasy, and I won't get him back. He's scoring touchdowns, pretty good stuff there. You have the great coaching mind of Sean McVay. Pretty good stuff for the Rams. I think that's the thing to really take out of this game, right, gentlemen?
Yeah, they're not washed up yet. I think the Rams are still contenders. I don't think they're gonna be like, deep in the playoffs, but I do see them like, fighting for a wild card spot. Matthew Stafford has always been interception prone, so like you can't really weigh anything like on it, and he's always kind of been like kind of mid. So when people say he's a Hall of Famer, I kind of question that too myself. But most of all, like for the 49ers just won this game pretty much. They played a great game, like you said. The 49ers won this. Christian McCaffrey still killing it.
I mean,
monster out here.
The
Hopefully
one thing
Brandon
I will
Ayuk's
say,
okay though.
The one thing I will say about this is that, like, if you like a 5th round pick Puka Naku go for 15 for 147, I mean, I think there's some slight concerns with their secondary. If I'm being honest with you, I do think
as
that,
you mentioned,
I feel like
when
when they play a team like
mention that.
Dallas who has CeeDee Lamb, or they play Philly who has elite receivers, I think they're going to struggle a little bit.
Hopefully better than Zach Wilson did.
I think they're going to struggle next week versus Daniel Jones, actually. Like, I think Daniel Jones is going to put up big numbers. Like, I think that game's going to be a lot closer than people think. Do I think the 49ers will win that game? Yes, just based off talent alone. I think they're a little bit more talented than the Giants. But, I mean, that game's going to be close, actually. Like, don't sleep on the Giants next week versus San Fran, because they were a little susceptible in the secondary, I think, San Francisco.
I like that.
Without Saquon Barkley, they're going to throw the ball a lot. So could be something to watch out for.
That's where you need Darren Waller to go in. And also moving on, the Colts and the Texans, the 2nd overall pick played the 3rd overall pick. And respect to both of these two quarterbacks, really solid starts to start their career, especially Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson, though, please, this is his 2nd game in a row he got taken out for injury, so please stay durable. But I found this a respectful matchup for both sides, and the Colts got a victory that they will definitely appreciate.
I mean, I guess I'll comment a little bit on that. Like, I'll give after I speak, I'll give to Alex. Like, I think CJ Stroud has actually been played pretty good about all the rookie quarterbacks. CJ Stroud looks very good.
Yeah, already had his 300 passing
Yeah,
yard game already.
he's going to be a little bit of a baller, and finally, it's nice
Nico
to see
Coleman,
an Ohio State quarterback actually completing pass touchdowns. It's very nice to see that. Hasn't been like that for oh my God knows how long. Yeah, I think CJ Stroud's clearly got some potential. I even think you saw Anthony Richardson's explosiveness for those 2 rushing touchdowns. He got the win for. I mean, he technically gets the quarterback win in the statistic books, even though Gardner Minshew did more in the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's not really too much to take stock in those 2 teams. I don't think either of those two teams are that great.
No.
Yeah, long ways to go.
They'll occasionally surprise someone winning a game like Indy did put up 30 points, which I didn't think they would do for a while. But that being said, those teams aren't beating too many other teams besides each other. They'll beat up on each other. Maybe they'll beat Tennessee, but I mean, I don't really. I think those are 2 of the bottom feeders in the league. So, nice win for Indy, and nice to see CJ Stroud playing well.
Yeah, I can't really say too much about this game. I will say CJ Stroud did. I agree with you guys. He played really well. Shout out to Nico Collins. Like, he played real good too. I had no idea Robert Woods was over there. That's a solid pickup for them. So I see them bouncing back, like winning more games. But like overall, they need a rush attack. That's just all I'm going to say. They just need a rush attack.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor is going to continue to be, the elephant in the room, especially if this team actually does make a little bit of noise this year. I mean, I still think that both teams are bottom feeders in the AFC. This is the worst division of football. But I think, honestly, like, spoiler alert, I think Gardner Minshew's not necessarily playing for a backup. I think he's playing for a revival, a new career position in another city. I think that
I take him on the Jets. Let me tell you, I take him on the Jets.
Yeah. If it's not the Jets, it's it could be with Oakland, because it's a matter of time. I'm checking my watch, my invitation that Garoppolo gets hurt. That Garoppolo gets hurt, or it could be in Denver. It's just a matter of where he fits. So I think that he's still playing and vying for a starting position somewhere in the league. I think he's good enough to do so, and that's kind of my hot takeaway from this game.
Look at that. And the final game to discuss is the Kansas City Chiefs playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. I hope you bet the under in this game. Jones and Kelsey came back. Chiefs did make mistakes, but the Jaguars could not capitalize it. Pretty good stuff in a mid game, but I thought it would be more explosive between these 2 franchises, and I really thought they'd have points, but what are you going to do? How did we think about this game in this playoff rematch, which should have been a primetime game, by the way? I don't know why they played that at 1.
Agreed. Too early to flex it. That's why. Yeah. No. I think taking the under was very much a kind of a faux pas going into this game. We thought it was going to be high scoring, somewhere around a 30-point, back and forth game. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, man. I think Kansas City left a lot on the table for Jacksonville to capitalize on. They didn't do so. Shame on Trevor Lawrence and that offense. I think that this is part of growing pains. Getting better as a team. I think that they need to be more opportunistic and ready for these moments, especially when you move through the season and you progress with that defense. Because I think Doug Peterson, if there's one thing we take away from his years in Philly, he knows how to get that defense ready. He's going to create short fields for Trevor Lawrence, and he's going to have those guys, those receivers ready to ball out. So I think that they lost some opportunities. This is not. I don't take much from this loss in the broader context of things, and I hope that they rematch somewhere in the playoffs this year.
All right.
I believe that all in all, it was a solid game for the Chiefs. There was mistakes made. I actually thought that Jacksonville was going to win this one. Trevor Lawrence played decent. Like, he could have played much better. Travis Etienne didn't have really much on the ground. and Christian Kirk had a good game. Like Evan Ingram looks slightly revived over there. Overall, this was just a better game defensively for the Chiefs, I guess, and a better game for that receiving core as a whole for the Chiefs as well. So,
Give the Chiefs credit for stepping up defensively. We've had questions about their defense. So good,
yeah,
good for them for stepping up. That's actually a good thing. It's a good prove-it game for the defense because even when Mahomes doesn't play well or to his level, that means they can win a defensive game. So credit to them. I'm still high on Jacksonville. I think that's going to be one of the best teams in the AFC. I've said it from the time I actually thought they were going to get the 1 seed. I will stick to that. But more so credit for the Chiefs for playing a good defensive game. Do you have anything to
Edwards
add,
Laire's a
Alex?
bum.
Alex, you got anything to add? Or
No, I think you guys pretty much covered it.
It'll be a good game. So let's do our picks for week 3, everybody. Thursday night, the New York Giants are going to Santa Clara to play the San Francisco Giants. San Francisco's opening at -10. Give the points to the Giants, but
I'll give the points to the Giants for sure.
But the money line will go to
I'll
San
give the Giants.
Francisco.
I'll take the Giants with the points for sure. I agree with that.
Should be fun, and hopefully we get a nice prove-it game for Daniel Jones again.
Yeah,
and
Daniel Jones is going to play well. I think he will.
Yes, sir. And we know Darren Waller will be a big factor.
What do y'all mean by that when y'all say take them for the points, though?
Like the points of the spread. Like if it's -10, that means the Giants will lose by less than 10 points. That's what you mean. Take the Giants.
Okay.
For the points.
Yeah. Understood. Yeah, I see the Giants getting their ass bust this game, but I actually do see Danny Dimes putting up some points on the 49ers defense. Like you said, Hayden, they got some holes in that secondary. So let's see what's up. But that middle of the field for them is pretty much locked down. You know what I'm saying? But when you throw that ball a little bit towards the numbers, like you got a point. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're looking kind of shady. So I'm gonna go with the 49ers. Maybe like 35, 27.
I'll take the Niners. I'll take the
That's
Niners.
a very high scoring game right there.
No, I'm going to take the Niners in this game. 27-21.
I'm going to be 28-20. I think that it's a one-score game going down to the wire. I think that Giants defense hangs tough. And whenever you're on a short week, there's not going to be a lot of offense involved. But I think that Giants will get the points. San Fran prevails.
All right. 1 o'clock. The New England Patriots are going to MetLife Stadium to play the New York Jets. New England is opening at -2.5. Hey, are you going to be there to witness it? And what do you think?
I will not be there. It's one of the few games I'll miss all year. God help me for doing this. My heart wants to say the Jets, so I'm going to take the Jets in this game. I'm going to take the Jets. But that being said, I would highly urge people to take it. I would highly urge that. With Zach Wilson at quarterback and Bill Belichick, I'm taking the Jets only for my heart. My mind says the New England Patriots. So if I'm going to tell people, if I'm giving people with their money, trusting, I'm not betting on this game because I have too much of a bias with my Jets. But if I was betting and I had money in this game, I'd take New England.
Hey man, the best spread of all time is the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 42. We're 14-point favorites against the Giants, and we know what happens.
20-17, New England.
24-17, New York.
24-17.
Wow,
interesting. Okay.
Points. Wow.
We are going with the Patriots on this one. They're going to win this and hit the points. I'm going to hit the points with that one.
Sauce Gardner gets a pick 6.
They would have had a pick 6 if not for that BS John Franklin Myers roughing passer call, which he seems like he gets every roughing the passer call called in him.
AFM, stop it.
Ain't got nobody in that receiving core that's going to burn Sauce. So, yeah.
All right. 2 teams that both have helmed Baltimore's that are home. The Indianapolis Colts are going to play the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore's opening at -8. And you know what?
I'll take Baltimore with the spread and with the money line and the spread.
Same here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I got them winning at least by 2 touchdowns. I got 28-14.
I'm going to chuck up that 28-14 for the Ravens, too.
Okay.
Tennessee Titans are playing the Cleveland Browns at Cleveland. Cleveland opening at -3. Give me the Tennessee Titans with the upset. With the points as well.
3, you said?
Wait, what was the game again? Tennessee versus who?
Tennessee versus Cleveland, and it's a
I'll take
-3 for
10.
Cleveland.
I'll take Tennessee for this game. I'll take Tennessee with the money line on the spread.
I will take Cleveland at home, outright win without the points. So I'm going to go somewhere like 20-18.
I'll take Cleveland in this game. I'll take Tennessee in this game. Same score as last week. I think they're going to win 27-24 again. I mean Tennessee. I mean,
I got Tennessee. I got Tennessee taking this one too. 21-17. D Hop has a solid game, straight beast ass game. That's what I'm predicting.
The Denver Broncos are going to Miami. Miami has a home opener here. Miami opening at -6.5. And I think they're going to win this game, and they're going to get the points. And Broncos are going to be 0-3 in the Sean Payton era.
This is going to surprise people. I'm going to take Denver in this game. I'm going to take Denver 31. I think I'm going to take Denver 31-28.
Oh man, that'd be surprising.
I'm going to take Denver, and I'm going to take Denver with the money line and Denver with the spread. So I think Denver's going to surprise people this week. I think Miami's going to come back down to earth.
I'm gonna take Denver on this one as well. 24-27.
27-24, you mean?
Yeah.
27-24.
Yeah, I'm somewhere in that range. I'm a little lower because I have less faith in this offense by the week with Denver. I'm gonna go 24-21 Denver.
We got 3 people picking Denver or Miami. We got a lot of ballsy people in this group.
Really, man? You guys really think that, huh?
I'll ride Denver this week. Yeah,
respect.
I think that front four for Denver is just that good. I think that they're bound to, as long as Russ can stay out of his own way. That's what I'm betting on. All
right, we have the Buffalo Bills going up against the Washington Commanders. Here's a Super Bowl rematch right here. Buffalo opening at -6.5. Give the points to the Commanders, but the Bills will get the victory.
I say the Commanders get a very sneaky win here too. Like I say, they pull it out. I say it's a very defensive game, so I'm gonna go with 21-24 or 24-21. Commanders.
Oh, I got this lower. I was somewhere around 19-14. Washington.
What score? Washington versus who?
Washington over Buffalo, 19-14.
Ooh.
Upset.
Well, I'm taking Buffalo. I'm taking Buffalo in this game, 31-19. I think Buffalo's gonna.
Whoa, that's a huge margin.
Yeah, 31-19. I think they're gonna beat them pretty bad in this game.
Okay.
How about the Atlanta Falcons going to Detroit to play the Detroit Lions? Detroit opening at -3.5 here. Give me Detroit and the points.
I'm gonna take. I'll take Detroit with the spread and with the money line too. So I'll take Detroit in this game. 30-26.
I think that the Lions blow the fucking Falcons out for this game, for that statement win that Jared Goff should have got like this following week. So I'm gonna go with like 35-17. The Lions.
35-17. Wow.
I like your scores bars.
Betting on that one. I mean, it's they going for it type of pick, but you know.
Yeah, I'm somewhere in the 31-22 range. I think it's a 2-score game, but I have confidence that Detroit will pull away in the second half.
That's what I'm feeling too. I feel like in that second half, like Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to go off, and Aiden Hutchinson's really going to start ripping on defense. So
the New Orleans Saints are going to Green Bay. Green Bay opening at 2 points at home. Give me Jordan Love bouncing back and giving the Saints their first loss of the season with this spread. Win by field goal.
Ooh, this is gonna be a tough game. I'm actually gonna go really, really low on this game.
Me too.
Give me like a 17-16 game for the Saints.
Ooh,
I'm going really low on this one.
I'm going 2017 for the Saints.
That was a good
Yeah,
year.
I'm a 23-17 Saints.
Two of the youngest franchises in the NFL, the Houston Texans are going to play the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville opening at -9.5 here at home. And I actually think they'll be able to even cover that spread. Give me Jacksonville there. I think they can beat them pretty handily as the Houston Texans are trying to figure them out with DeMarco Russell. DeMeco Ryans
Yeah.
as the head coach there.
I got you, dude. I'll go Jacksonville 35-24.
I like that score too, but I'm gonna go lower. With the second score, I'm gonna stay with the 35 for Jacksonville, but I'm probably gonna go with like something closer to like 17, something pedestrian.
So regardless of what I pick for numbers, I think this will be the biggest blowout of the weekend, and typically that isn't the case with divisional opponents. But I'm going to go 28-3 just for the shits and giggles of it.
I don't think they're going to score 3 points. Like, CJ Stroud has shown that he can operate an offense. They'll score more than 3 points. But I mean, we'll see. I think the Texans have just a week. They're a couple of years away, but it's nice. It's nice to see their quarterback at least playing well.
Take it or leave it.
It's nice to see that.
In our only battle of winless teams, we have this. I was about to say San Diego. The Los Angeles Chargers playing against the Minnesota Vikings. The spread is actually even, so pick them. What are we doing?
These teams are the two biggest choke artists.
I know.
I guess I'll take San Diego somehow winning a. I don't even know. I don't even want to pick this game, but give me San Diego. I don't think it's gonna be a close game. I think one of these teams is gonna blow the other one out. So I'll take it like San Diego 30-16. That's LA. It's 30-16 over Minnesota.
I got Go ahead, Bars.
No. Go. I was talking out loud.
I'm kind of in the same vein. I think this is like do or die for the Chargers. So I got San Diego 35-16.
I'm going to go with the Vikings on this one, and Brandon Staley will be the first coach to get the hot seat. And
he's gone. If they lose this week, he may be gone, actually.
Yo, 33-35 Chargers.
Kellen Moore gets the head coaching position if that happens?
Possibly, yes. I wouldn't be shocked.
There's big teeth in his forehead.
I think this is a high-scoring game. 35-33 Chargers.
All right, I'm the only one with Minnesota there. Interesting. So we have the Carolina Panthers going up against the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle opening at -5.5. Give me Seattle with the spread and the victory.
I think it's going to come down to a last-second field goal. I actually think Bryce Young is I think Bryce Young is improving. Not to say that I think Bryce Young's a good quarterback. I do think he's improved a lot. So I'll take the give me the Seahawks 28-24.
I'll say this shit like 31-14. Maybe 31-17.
Boy, you really think 31-7? Okay. That's fair.
Seahawks. 31-17 Seahawks.
Is this in Carolina or is it in Seattle?
Seattle.
Oh, I got Seattle routing them. I was gonna say if it was in Carolina, I would say it was a close game with a walk-off or something. But no, I expect Seattle to take care of business at home. I'm gonna say 24-10.
DK Metcalf get a big game.
Okay. Watch out for DK Metcalf, everybody. We have the Dallas Cowboys going to Arizona, opening at -12. Very steep spreads in this game. What's going to happen here? Give me Dallas with the risky spread of 12 points. They'll win by 2 touchdowns against Arizona.
Yo, call me a fucking moron, bro. Give me
moron.
24-17, the Cardinals.
The 24. Okay. Oh man, I'll do that for the sake of Cowboy fans being embarrassed.
I got Dallas winning, but Arizona's going to cover the spread. I think that they're feisty and resilient enough. They'll keep this game relatively close. And every time people build confidence in Dallas, they just let you down. So I think they're going to come back to earth a little bit.
This is going to be one of those bullshit wins.
I got Dallas
I'm
winning
telling
this
you.
game. I got Dallas winning this game 35-17. So
good for you.
Mamma mia. The Chicago Bears are going to Kansas City. For some reason, this is a primetime game.
This is a primetime game.
Yep, 4:25.
They should have flexed the Jets Pats to the fucking primetime. That way I could actually go to the game. Actually, no, I can't actually because you don't keep quiet anyway.
I think Stevie Wonder staffed the programming.
All right, they're opening at -12.5. Give me the Bears hit the spread, but the Chiefs the victory. It's gonna be stupid close.
You think it's gonna be close? No, actually, yeah, they'll keep it close. No, with the Bears defense, with the Bears defense,
Chiefs are notoriously known for not covering the spread in the Andy Reid era.
I'll give the Chiefs 30. Chiefs are gonna win this game 35-13.
No, 24-3.
Oh, the Bears defense is horrendous. Oh my god.
Yeah, but Hayden, you're missing you're losing the bat. You're losing the war for the sake of winning the battle. I think that this game. Sorry.
No, I mean I hear you on that. I'm not gonna. You're allowed.
What I mean by that is I think it's gonna be like 17-0 at half, and then it'll end up being like 24-3 by the end.
So you think they're gonna get some garbage points at the end?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be over at half, but they're either not gonna cover the spread or they're just gonna let it trace out to the end of the game.
Very Chiefs way of doing things in the regular season.
Actually, I think it's gonna be a little low. It might be lower scoring than that, but it's just like they have to just let Justin Fields run. Like they can't they can't have him go in a passing shootout versus Patrick Mahomes. Like that's just let him run wild.
Let him run off the field.
Yeah.
Run home safety.
No, he's another guy who could get benched. Like that guy Tyson, like the D2 guy, legitimately could be playing pretty soon if he keeps playing the way he is.
Now a battle of two classic NFL franchises with a rivalry that goes as far as the 1970s. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Las Vegas Raiders. They are going to play each other on Sunday night. Vegas is actually opening at -2.5. I'm sorry, Alex. The Steelers are going to win this one, and they're going to give the spread.
I'm taking Las Vegas in this game.
Alex is surprised.
Vegas in this game.
No. Wait. So how is Vegas 2.5 point favorites?
Kenny Pickett
I don't know how
good. They're probably playing it bowl. They said, like
I in Pittsburgh.
Oh, they Pittsburgh.
No. They're playing in Vegas.
Oh, okay.
I do not think that that Kenny Pickett has played well. I actually think Jimmy Garoppolo
home opener for Vegas.
Yeah.
And I honestly think if I have one quarterback to take who's going to make a play at the end of the game, I'm taking Jimmy G over Kenny Pickett.
All right, so, for the spirit,
I'm taking Las Vegas 24-21.
Yeah,
I'm taking
What?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm so handsome.
Bridgeport, you still there?
All right, well, it looks like we might be.
You got me?
Yes. Steelers versus Raiders. What do you think is going to happen? I can at least hear you.
All right, my fault. My PC was done. Can you see me?
Yes, we can see you. Oh. So you two are going up against each other. What's going to happen? I can't wait till we get a studio.
Nail biter.
What, Pittsburgh?
28-27 is a nail biter.
Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
So who
Pittsburgh.
A week from now, who's getting the bragging rights?
Me.
Oh, Alex.
I always win because if we lose, I still win.
Well, I'm a Jet fan, so I'm used to losing. So,
I'm definitely winning this. But that's okay. I got the bragging rights.
All right, good. Oh man, what's going on with the screen? All right, two more games quickly. Monday night we have another doubleheader for some reason. We have the Philadelphia Eagles going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Ew.
Philly opening at -5.
I'm gonna shock people, but so I'm taking Tampa in this game.
Whoa.
I'm gonna take Tampa. I think Tampa's gonna win this game. Ooh, I actually think Tampa's gonna win this game outright, 28-20.
Give me the Eagles on the
20,
points on this
20.
one.
Whoa.
Yeah. Big. It's a big.
Eagles.
That's a big. I'm going for it there in this game.
That's
But
big. That's big.
I kind of believe in what the mojo and Baker Mayfield, and I think Philly hasn't overly impressed me. Take Tampa in this game.
28-35 Eagles.
All
35.
right.
35, 28.
And the final game to discuss a
didn't
Super
make my
Bowl
pick.
rematch. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, Alex.
I'm 27-21 Eagles.
All right. In the final game, a Super Bowl rematch, the Los Angeles Rams are going up against the Cincinnati Bengals at Cincy. Cincy opening at -2.5. Give me the Rams and the Bengals. They are going to lose and start 0-3.
Wow.
Whoa.
Agreed.
Oh. I'm taking Cincinnati in this game, 37-26.
I'm taking
No way.
it
Too high.
This one.
So yeah, you're right. It's a little bit high spread, but I'm going to
24-17.
I think Cincinnati's struggles continue, but this is a must-win for them, and I can't swear by my AFC Championship pick unless I pick them. So I think this is do or die. I think that they win 28-24, Cincy.
All right. This is going to be a fun week. Let's see what happens. Thank you so much to Hayden Nadler, Alex Ranelio, and Bars the God. And we will see you all next week. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, good question, Matt. I'll ask you after the show. I'll ask. Are we done recording?
Nope. We will now. All right, people, check us out tomorrow to see what Hayden asked me.